Welcome, and today we're going to talk about job search business cards or career search business cards, or whatever you want to talk about them. Passport to employment, we think that it's very important to have a job search business card so that you can tell a lot of people who you are and what your best strengths are and your best skills that you might have that you want to let everybody know about through a business card. They're very inexpensive, they're easy to design. And what we have is, you can see in your this is part of workshop number 1. And you can see we have a sample where on the front you have your name, the job title that you're seeking. We suggest that you not have more than 2. And in fact, if you have more than 2, you have 3 or 4 different things that you want to be. We suggest you first of all visit with Brian Wright, who's on our staff, because you need to really find out what you want to be when you grow up. If you don't know, if you can't narrow it down to 1 or 2 things, no, there's going to be very few people that are going to be serious about you, because if you don't know what you want to be, they're probably not going to take the time and or the resources, both financial and time, to spend on you if you're not really sure what you want to do. So what I would suggest is that one of the first things you do is get in hold of Brian, and he might be able to help you kind of narrow that down. But as you can see on the front, you're going to have your name, you're going to have your job title sought, and that's no more than 2, and they should be related in some way, and that might be in banking, financing, something like that. You're going to have your cell phone number. You're never going to have your home phone number, only your own cell phone number. You're also going to have your job search email address, not your regular address or email address. We suggest, and you can see that in the video on emails, that you want to have your own job search email address. One thing you see that you don't see on this that maybe you used to some time ago, and actually business cards have been around for a long, long time. I think my first one was in 1973 or 74, and interesting enough, they're the same size as they used to be. It's just that the information is different. So you can see that we also want to have your LinkedIn account on there for sure, along with your email address. And in some cases, people want to have their QR code and their branding statement, which might be is optional. My branding statement for Passport is going to be helping the under and unemployed find new careers. So you need to come up with your own kind of branding, but it kind of tells people what you want to do. Now on the back side, and that you want to have is, and I've got a couple of samples, but on the back side we want to have your resume on back. Now is that going to be the full resume? No. What we want to have is your strengths, your skills, what you're trying to sell to a prospective employer and or somebody that you want to help get you to that proper employer. And as you can see, you can do it a lot of different ways. We have a sample here from Steve Panko, if you look at the very bottom of the page on business cards. And he had that he was a team builder, leader, and mentor. He also has, then on the back, you can see he has bullet points of what he has done in his career so far. We suggest you do that. Now we have a couple of samples that you might look at. This may be difficult, I apologize. This is one from Greg Tyner, who was in our on our staff, actually was a participant. And you can see he had his picture on there. That's something that you might think about. You might also think about a QR code. And this is another person that was here at Passport. And as you can see, I've got my finger over it, but he has his QR code on there. And again, he has what he wants to be, manufacturing production manager. Then on the back, he's kind of done it a little differently, in that he has come up with something from the printer, and he has a kind of a lean and then production, and then he has his different skills that he wants to make sure that prospective employer or whoever he hands this to. And business cards are important, first of all, because there may be a situation where you don't want to be handing out resumes. You may not be wanting to hand out a marketing sheet, which we'll talk about later, but you want to be able to get in front of that individual and let them know who you are. Now, one thing that we suggest, and again, we're trying to differentiate from what everybody else does. And so what we would suggest is that you hand your business card, your job search business card, with the back on the top, at front. Why? So that when somebody takes that and reads it, they're looking for your name, etc. But what you find is that I've got Greg's Tyners, and he has the things that he is specialized in over his period of time. So, and then they flip it over to the front. Why do we do that? Because most people give it on the front, and then very seldom, if ever, is a person going to automatically turn on the back to see what's on there. So you've already done that. The other thing you might consider, in fact we tell you to, is get a matted finish on your business card. I show you here one that I have written some information on. If you don't use a matted finish, it makes it very difficult for another person to write anything down, and you want to make this as easy as possible on the business cards. The other thing that's important for a business card is not that you're giving one out. The key is that you're getting a business card from somebody else. Why is that important? Because it's all about networking in our process at Passport to Employment. Networking. So if you have these business cards, then you have other people that you can contact. And what's nice about a business card is that you have all their information, their direct line, you have their email address, you're going to have their LinkedIn account if that's on there. So those are the things that we suggest that you have when you're creating your business card. Where do you get them? Vistaprint is a great place. Always look and see if there are some kind of discounts, because they have them going on all the time. The second thing is that I would suggest, unless you really need these fast, is just to pay the regular freight. There's just not that much difference between the time that you get it. They're not going to hold back on yours because you're using a slower method to get it to your house. So that's about business cards. They're very critical. We'll be talking about business cards again later when we get into presentations. Thanks.